Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. Do you know what I'm talking about? The manosphere. Do you know what it is? The manosphere is everywhere, but mostly on Reddit and YouTube. It is all around YouTube. It is a toxic cesspool of sad, lonely men who blind themselves from the truth.
What truth?
That the reason they can't get girlfriends is because they're assholes, Neo. And that manosphere ideologies like the red pill and men going their own way and inceldom are all rooted in a bunch of garbagey nonsense. You take the red pill and you become an abusive douchebag. Or you can take the clear pill. If you take the clear pill, you will see clearly, and you will see through the trash fire of bullshit that the manosphere is trying to shove down your throat. Remember, all I'm offering you is the truth, nothing more.
Okay, that's enough of that. The Matrix really wasn't even a very good movie, and the fact that the Red Pill bases their entire ideology around a sophomoric 90s Keanu Reeves vehicle tells you a lot about what we're dealing with here.
You could say that.
In case you haven't heard of the manosphere, it's this kind of greasy underbelly of the internet. It's where men go to con each other out of money and teach each other how to abuse women. Today we'll be talking about the oldest and largest sector of the manosphere, the Red Pill community. I'm American Johnson, and this is the first edition of the Manosphere is Terrible YouTube series. And yes, that's the best name I could come up with. Episode 1, The Red Pill is a Cult. The origins of the manosphere are murky and seem to stretch back to at least the 1970s, when pickup artists wrote books and made videos about how to score tons of groovy chicks. We'll talk more about pickup artists in a future video, but for now, just know that the pioneers of the manosphere were dudes like this.
Hi, I'm Michael Jeffries. So let's watch now and see as they flirt with magic. Need a light?
Sure.
And that is Hot Match.
Fast forward to 2012, which is when the Red Pill subreddit was founded by Reddit user PK Atheist, who was later revealed to be New Hampshire Republican State Representative Robert Fisher. The Red Pill quickly grew to become the unholy nexus of the manosphere, giving angry men a central place to come together and develop their latent misogyny and toxic masculinity into a full-fledged ideology that preaches hatred of women. The strategies and tactics used by the Red Pill community are very similar to the methods used by cults, extremist religious terrorist groups, and white supremacist organizations. The first step is identifying and attracting people who are susceptible to recruitment. The kinds of men who are drawn to the Red Pill invariably exhibit traits that make good candidates for cults. Dependency, unassertiveness, gullibility, low tolerance for uncertainty, disillusionment with the status quo, naive idealism, desire for spiritual meaning. Cult recruiters tend to skulk around places where people go when they're down and out. This makes the internet a perfect recruiting ground for cult-like groups like the Red Pill, especially sites like Reddit and YouTube, which are full of sad, lonely men. The main methods of cult recruitment are deception, manipulation, and isolation. Red Pillers try very hard to present their ideology as benign, especially in public-facing communications like this excerpt from an interview with the Red Pill moderator. We're accused of misogyny almost daily. I won't deny that the language is colorful and there's a lot of emotion expressed by the men on the forum, but before the Red Pill, there wasn't really a way for these guys to express their feelings. Let's say there's a guy who just says, "I hate women." I think that's textbook misogyny. We let them say that because there's nowhere else for a man to blow off steam. But they stay, they learn, they vent, they get advice, they get back on the horse. The end game of our advice is not to hate women, it's to understand them so you can stop being so darn frustrated with them. You see how this guy downplays the misogyny and emphasizes values that would resonate with mainstream audiences? The most harmful aspects of the Red Pill are buried and veiled in the ideology. Becoming a veteran Red Pillar involves learning a complex system of code words and theory so that the systematic abuse and exploitation of women can be discussed largely in subtext. I'll go into more detail about this in my next video, but for now, just know that a newcomer to the Red Pill is unlikely to know the true nature of this group when they're poking around in the forums for the first time. They are instead deceived into believing that the Red Pill ideology is a positive and female-friendly philosophy that's all about empowering men and making them better and more successful people. Red Pillers identify the special needs and desires of potential recruits and target them viciously. They zero in on the vulnerabilities of these newcomers and present the ideology accordingly. Lonely, frustrated newcomers, already prone to self-doubt, are asked to assess themselves in a way that is intended to make them feel even more weak and pathetic than they already do. This creates an immediately unbalanced power dynamic. You, the newcomer, are an ignorant loser. I, the Red Pill veteran, am a wise and powerful alpha male. Sit down, shut up, and listen to what your superiors have to say. That's the kind of greeting you can expect in the Red Pill community. There's always a sense of mysticism and secret hidden knowledge. Veteran Red Pillers present themselves as knowing deeper truths, and newbies are presented as insignificant and inferior due to their lack of experience and understanding. Here are some examples of typical advice given by veteran Red Pillers to newcomers to the forums. Look in the mirror and ask yourself if you want to continue to look this way and degrade over time, or if you want to be fit, clean, and powerful. Ask yourself how much of your self-esteem is based on your own accomplishments rather than on external sources of validation, boss, significant others, etc. Adjust accordingly. When the pill goes down, the world around you crumbles. The illusions you have built your worldview on dissipate. Your mind tries to fight it for a while, but the world finally makes sense the more you read and put into practice. Most cults and extremist groups rely on isolating new recruits to ensure complete dominance and indoctrination. If you're completely new to the Red Pill community, one of the first steps you're told to take is going monk mode for a period of 3 months. Monk mode means what it sounds like. You are expected to isolate yourself, not go on any dates, and work on learning Red Pill ideology, and quote-unquote improving yourself and clearing your head during this time. Of course, what they mean is sinking deeper and deeper into Red Pill ideology indoctrination. Here's advice from one of the most popular Red Pill blogs on going into monk mode. If you accept you're a low-value human being, but you want to rectify this and become better, cutting off mundane people is crucial. Mundane people, also known as average people, don't share your ambition and will jealously deride you every step of the way on your path to self-betterment. Oh yeah, that dude doesn't sound anything like a cult leader. Red Pillars further isolate their online disciples by banning discussions of certain topics and labeling any opposing viewpoints as absurd, naive, and unworthy of the attention of the community. Feminism is portrayed as a nefarious plot to control men and put women in command of humanity. Red Pillars are encouraged to dismiss, ignore, and deride feminism as little more than a collective temper tantrum thrown by the overly emotional women of the world. Here's a typical example, a response to a thread titled, starkly enough, "Feminism is cancer." Feminism isn't cancer, it's a cold. Drink some OJ, hit the gym, and don't worry about it. Attempting to bring up any sort of discussion that contradicts Red Pill ideology is dismissed and shut down immediately. For example, when one new user linked to a blog post that challenged Red Pill philosophy, these are the kinds of responses he received. No one gives a flying f***. Read the sidebar and read around the posts. Take what you will. Shut up. No one cares about your opinion or positions, beliefs either. It's not worth refuting, much less linking and talking about. Low intellect constructs like this blog should be ignored. And what was the Red Pill reaction to the Me Too movement? Well, there were some pretty horrible threads, including, "Me Too, attention-seeking sleuths. All women are like that." But ultimately, the Red Pill shut down all discussion of the subject, punctuated by this mod thread. "The Me Too movement is a beta trap. No more threads about it." Newcomers are inundated with a sense that outside perspectives that challenge the Red Pill ideology are dangerous and wrong. The Red Pill community must be the only source of knowledge, and members must focus solely on the Red Pill ideology. Once a recruit commits to taking the pill, full-scale indoctrination begins. The deception and manipulation is ramped up and combined with more involved tactics, such as induced dependency. The Red Pill demands that users submit utterly to the Red Pill ideology. Members are presented with complex and draconian instructions for self-improvement and are expected to comply with Red Pill principles completely. Analysis and dissenting opinions which contradict the core tenets of Red Pill ideology are harshly rebuked. Users are also inculcated with dread. If you don't do precisely as the Red Pill instructs you, if you fall for the lies of feminism and the mainstream media, if you dare to stray from the path set out for you by the ideology, you will be doomed to the life of misery and loneliness you came from. You will be a loser for the rest of your life. This process of indoctrination never really ends. Members of the Red Pill community are subjected to these techniques on a daily basis, so long as they stay active within the community. This is why it's so important for us to try to rescue young men from falling into this online cult of misogyny as early in the process as possible. We need to be presenting young men who are in personal crisis with better and more positive alternatives to the Red Pill. Remember, the main reason that guys are taking the Red Pill is because they are lonely and frustrated and have no one else to turn to. They crave a sense of belonging and a direction in their life. Red Pill ideology offers seductive answers to all of their questions and provides a sense of belonging and acceptance that can be comforting for someone who feels lost and alone. We as feminists need to be building safety nets for these men to fall into so that they can learn better and more healthy ways of expressing their masculinity and interacting with women and building their social skills and self-confidence. In the next episode of The Manosphere is Terrible, we'll talk about the manipulation and abuse techniques that the Red Pill teaches men to use against women. In the meantime, if you want to watch more videos or read more articles about feminism, toxic masculinity, and all that fun stuff, you can check out my website at non-compete.com. I'm American Johnson, and I thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, why don't you give it a subscribe and a thumbs up, maybe leave a little comment. If you didn't like it, you can give it a thumbs down and tell me what a beta cuck I am. See you next week!